Hey, what's up guys, it's Theo for Fino Concept. So today we are going to create a product design in Adobe Photoshop. Let's just get started. Welcome to Fino Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright, let's go ahead and open up our application. For this, I'll be using Photoshop CC 2019 and I'll go ahead and create a new document. So I'm going to set this to an A4 sheet, so I'll go into print. Let me close this and I'll click on A4 and click on create. So I'm going to hit Ctrl R to bring up my rulers and I'll just click and drag and drop this at the center like this. Now luckily for me, I already have an image of something I shot with a nice background, so this is what I'm going to be using for this tutorial. In case you just have an image of the product you want to use, getting a background is going to be very important. So I'll go ahead and open this in Photoshop. Now I'm going to use the short keys Ctrl A to highlight everything, Ctrl X to cut it out of this, and Ctrl W to close this particular document. And I'll paste it in here using Ctrl V. Now you see this is quite a huge image, so anywhere around this area positioning it should be just fine. I think I'm okay with here, so I'll just comment on OK. Now let's fit this to screen. So the first thing is going to be our main text, which is going to be at the heading. So this product is more or less like the Apple AirPods or AirPods. I have no idea what I'm saying. So this is going to be the name of the product, and I can't spell today. Alright, so there are a bunch of scripts I want to go for, so let me just select just one of them. I think this is looking quite nice, and I'm going to be separating these texts, so let me just type this one in and I'll make it about, let's try 72. Okay, so 72 points is just fine, but I'll make the color white, so click on this icon right here and change it to white and click on OK. Now if I go into character, so click on window, go to character options. I'll also make it a bit thicker, so I'll click on this bold T right here, so that's going to make it a bit thicker like so, and I think this is looking okay. Now I'm going to paste in the other text, so Ctrl V. I already copied that. I'll also make it about 72 points. Do the exact same thing, click on this icon right here and also change the color to white, so I'll place that somewhere around here, and that is looking okay. Let me bring this down a bit. I should probably reduce the size also, something like so. Now the backdrop of the image is also going to be the background of this. So like I said, if you were not having a background, you just had the image, you can always just go into the adjustment panel, which is right here, and click on solid color and just add in a color like the turquoise I have in there, which I think is somewhere around here, and just click on OK. So basically you can also just do that, but since I like my backdrop, I think I will just stick with that. Alright, so I'll select these two texts and I'll group them up using Ctrl G, or just click and drop onto the group icon right here and just going to group them up. And I'll go into FX, which is down here, and click on stroke. So if you're on a newer version of Photoshop, you should see a plus sign next to the stroke, the inner shadow, the overlay, and all of that. So what it allows you to do is apply several layers of the stroke. So in my case, the first layer is going to be of the exact same color as my background. So I'll click on this color icon or rectangle right here and select a nice color like this, and I'll click on OK. I'm also going to change the position from inside to outside because I want it to be outside, and I'll increase the size to something like this. So about 35 should be just perfect. Now before I close it, I'm just going to click on the plus icon and go into the second one. So the first and the second is going to be exactly the same thing. For the second one, I'll change the color to white and just click on OK. And I'll make sure that the size is slightly a bit bigger than the first one. So anywhere around 38 and 40 should be just fine. I think 40 is looking quite nice, so I'll go with that. And we are getting this effect. I think this is looking quite cool. So what I'll do is I'll just click on OK right here. Now let's just say you don't have the newer version of Photoshop, so you don't have that plus icon. Let me go ahead and duplicate and hide the original for a second, and I'll just clear the effect I just applied. So this is how you can do yours. Go into effects, click on stroke. So for the first part, exactly the same thing, about 35, same color, click on OK. And once you are done, right click and go to merge group. Unfortunately, this is going to merge up your group, so you wouldn't be able to edit individual text unless you go ahead and retype them. Then you go back to FX, click on stroke one more time. Then for the second time, you go ahead and change the color. So that is what I have here, to something like this, and I think it is okay. So that is how to get the exact same effect if you are using the old version of Photoshop. Now, since I'm using the new version, I'll just delete that and let's continue with our work. So again, let's continue with the typing. So I'll probably call this header, and I'll create a new group. Let's call this price. So for that, I'll just zoom in somewhere around here. I'll grab the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle like so, making sure that the height is longer than the width, and I'll place it somewhere around, somewhere around here should be just fine. Then I'll go ahead and grab the polygonal lasso tool, just click on it, and what I'm going to do is, let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to click somewhere around here, hold down the shift key so that I get a perfect, 45-degree angle. Click somewhere around here, still hold down the shift key and click somewhere around here, or double click to get a selection. Then I'll try and place this at the center, so something like this should be fine. So what you see is I have it starting from this point, move up, and again hit this point. So, and once I have that, making sure that the rectangle is still active, I'll click on add layer mask. So this is going to add the layer mask over at that portion, but we want to invert it. So with the layer mask still selected, not the image, the layer mask still selected, hold down Control and press I. So that's going to invert the selection for you, and you have something like this. Quite awesome. So I'll double click and change the color to white. I can double click because it is a shape, and I'll type in the rest of my information, so like 30% off. You can see because this font doesn't allow the percentage sign, so I'll just be using the Gotham black, and I'll go into the character options and I'll change this to auto so that the text below is not moving upwards or downwards. So I'll just change it to auto, and I think the text is a little bit too huge too, so I'll just probably reduce the size to about 36, which should be okay. And I'll select that same color for the background because I'm going to be placing it somewhere around here, right? So I think 36 is still too huge, so 30 should be just fine, and I'm going to reduce this to about 18. Alright, so this is what I have, and this is looking quite awesome. You can also just select the rectangle and add in a drop shadow, which I'm going to do. It doesn't have to be quite huge. Well, let me just zoom in first. So FX drop shadow, and I can have the distance moving somewhere like this, and increase the opacity and play around with the direction. So anywhere around 45 should be okay, and I think somewhere around there should be fine. I'll just turn down the opacity because I don't want this to be too opaque for me, and just click on OK. Now this isn't the entire price, so for the actual price we are going to be using the ellipse tool, and we'll create a circle like this whilst holding down the shift key so that it doesn't deform, and I'll have it somewhere around here on the product itself like so. I'll probably make it much smaller and click on OK. And I'll go back to my type tool using T on your keyboard, and I'll type the actual price. So let's just say Ghana cedis, enter. So obviously this one will have to be smaller, like the 18 we have here, and this is going to be bigger, like the 30 or 36, and I'll also place this on top. Now you can see that if I zoom in a little bit, the spacing between these two is too huge, so I'll select it, go back into the character options, and this time around I'll make it smaller. So using this icon and slider over here, I'll make it about 30. I think 30 is okay, and I'll just click on OK. So once we have that, I also want to change the color of the ellipse to this background. Click on OK. Then I'll go into FX and I'll add in a stroke. The stroke is going to be white, so click on the color and change it to white and click on OK. I don't want the stroke to be too huge, something about 10 should be just fine. And you can also add in a drop shadow to make this look a little bit dramatic, and I'll just click on OK. Now the size of the shape is too huge for me, so I'll reduce the size whilst holding down the Shift and the Alt key, and I think this is looking quite nice already. I think about this big is okay, and I'll also include it in the price group. And the last thing is our last text, so I'll probably call this text all other informations are going to be included at the bottom here. So I think this information is okay. Please don't call this number, it just came randomly. I'm sure it's probably someone else's number, but it just occurred to me and I just typed it in there. So don't call, it's not an actual thing. So there are a couple of things I'm going to be changing. The first thing is going to be this text right here. Instead of using the Gotham black, I'll just be using the normal Gotham, and I'll also change it to book or medium. I think book is okay, and probably just resize it. So basically everything over here is just what you want to do. Is not going to be exactly the same thing. I'll go into this VA right here and make it much more so that the text separates from each other, or the letters separate from each other. The special packaging is a very important part of this, so I'll probably make it much bigger. About 36 should be okay. I should also change this to auto so that all the text are evenly spaced. Order now is also important to me, so I'll make it about 24. No, order now is not as important, so let me just bring that down. It's the phone number which is important, so I'll make it about 24. And the location, I think I'll just leave it as that. So basically this is it. And one more thing is I'll be adding in a shape at the back of this order now, so I'll have it in like this. Now it's covering it because the layer is on top. I'll just bring it beneath, and I'll change the color to, let's say, white. That way I'll have to change the color of the text here, so I'll highlight that text, click on this and change the color to what I have in here. And I think this is looking far better. So yeah, this is our final design.
Alright, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to watch more of our videos, hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Concept, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.